and you commented that it's all RNG and that Bryn got lucky. You guys are dead wrong. It is a perfectly controllable fight. What's up, guys? War number 9. We are up against New Nation. Look to the left of their alliance tag. They are #1 in the world right now. They're the only alliance that has beaten us this season. They smoked us. I think that was War 2 or 3. Shout out to Sammer and White Mummy, my boys over there. Really appreciate you guys. White Mummy especially. He's the awesome dude who did my new intro with Potato Doll. Anyway. Okay, so last war we had New Nation. Last war we had KenOB. We had a 4-2 lead with 9 fights left, and we blew it. We died twice. We ended up tying, which is the same as a loss. After that war, a lot of us were absolutely devastated, and including myself. And I was just hoping that we would match a less competitive opponent for this war to just try to get the fluids flowing again. And instead, we matched New Nation. We knew that this was going to be a brutal war for us. And I was concerned when I saw that we matched New Nation that this was going to be a quote-unquote blow-up war for us and that it was not going to be competitive. And spoiler warning, it was a blow-up war. I know my alliance very well. We fucking sucked. And we had, I think, what was our worst war of the entire season. We lost this war in the first probably hour that the attack phase had opened. Pretty rough, but it is what it is. So, all right, guys, I'm going to talk about my 3 fights, and then at the end of my 3 fights, after my 3 fights, we have got a Bryn fight. He's quaking Dragon Man on node 49 again. And for all of you people who watched my video where I showed his last Quake versus Dragon Man fight, and you commented that it's all RNG and that Bryn got lucky and all that stuff, you guys are dead wrong. It is a perfectly controllable fight, and he is going to solo that fight with 100% health. I'm going to show you exactly what he did to achieve that and how you guys can replicate it safely without having to use an invulnerability boost, all that jazz. Anyway, let's get to my fights here. We have a rank 3 cable. This node has kinetic transference. It's also got like power bond. And this is really good placement because every time Cable fills a bar of power, he's going to get a power flood buff. He also has a 15% chance to proc a regen buff when he fills a bar of power. That doesn't really matter. It's all about the power gain here. And this is definitely a Quake fight. However, I'm using Apocalypse instead because I want to build up Apocalypse to 4 genetic code. And I did not want to have to bring in a synergy to achieve that. So I think there were only 2 mutants in Section 1 on their map. This was one of them. Pretty easy node, frankly. It's good placement, but again, I would have to royally screw this up to die here. And I'm actually not looking good. I've made a couple mistakes. He's being a little bit stingy. So what I need to do is make sure that he throws this SP2. And the other thing is I want to make sure that I'm using kinetic transference to my benefit to make sure that he always builds up to a special 2 so that I can fully dex that. For whatever reason, I don't know when Kabam updated it, but Cable's SP1 is not fully dexable in the same way that it was when I did Abyss. I remember fully dexing his SP1, and now it doesn't work the same way. I'm sure that it's still possible somehow, but it's not the same. So. Alright, now I've got, I lost some health, a pretty ugly fight, but that's okay. I've got Apocalypse at 4 genetic code now. I'm going to throw on a White Mag's guidance here to give Bryn an extra 15% attack. He's going to be quaking this, but Bryn is not running suicides this season. And Immortal Hulk has, a huge health pool. I think it's like 3rd or 4th in the game. Anyway, I'm going to also place White Mag's guidance on this rank 3 Sasquatch, who has the highest health pool in the game. We're going to be quaking this also. Dap took that, and Dap soloed it, but on this fight with Encroaching Stun, you got to align the Quake Aftershock charges with the Encroaching Stun timer. And because of Sasquatch's health pool, towards the end of that fight, they can start to like misalign or fall out of alignment, and you can end up taking some damage. So guidance helps a little bit. All right, I have a rank 3 Mr. Fantastic here on this node. This node has redoubled determination. I'm going to quake it. Now, a couple notes for quaking Mr. Fantastic. He does have a very large health pool. It's one of the highest in the science class. And he has built-in energy and physical resistance. That does not mean that you can't quake him. And quake is still a very safe option for him. It just means that your damage is going to be reduced a little bit against him for those reasons. But here I look at Apocalypse and I'm like, gosh damn it. I just healed, or I just boosted, and I forgot to heal up Apocalypse before I boosted. Stupid. But also, I boosted pretty heavily because I wanted to make sure that I'm getting through this fight quickly, and I'm not running suicides here because of the passive heal block, and because I'm using Apocalypse this war. And Apocalypse does not need suicides for the damage at 4 genetic code, and he is a very expensive champ to heal up. So early this season I was using Apocalypse with suicides and he was crushing things, but I was also spending like a ton of items every war. So ever since I switched to no suicides with Apocalypse, he's been a lot more sustainable. And yeah, so here you guys can see that the fight, I don't know if you guys can tell, like if you're familiar with Quake, we're in our 3rd Aftershock cycle and he's only down 25%. So but, you know, ultimately it's a totally safe fight here. There are going to be a couple times when I block instead of Dex, just to kind of give myself a little bit of a break. So I've been heavy charge Dex, heavy charge block, as opposed to full Dex. And because I'm a little out of practice with Quake, as you guys can kind of see some of the extra Dexes and stuff, that kind of helps me get more into rhythm or feel more confident. So that's why I do that sometimes. It's really just a feel. It's like an instinctual feel. If I am feeling really good or really comfortable, then I'll just do full Dex. And sometimes I do full parry style too. This is my last Quake fight, so it doesn't really matter how much health I lose as long as I clear the fight. But yeah, one more Aftershock cycle and he's going to go down. That's always annoying when they survive an Aftershock cycle at like 1 or 2% health. I thought about throwing a heavy, and I'm sure that it would have killed him, but I didn't. So, alright, my next fight is a rank 3 Mole Man. This is kind of interesting placement. I assume he was placed here just to force us to bring 2 separate attackers for this lane. Apocalypse obviously uses a lot of debuffs to help his damage. But like Mole Man's not going to get a bunch of buffs, so he's not really going to benefit from the node itself. But Apocalypse is a good counter to Mole Man, and they know that. That's why they placed Mr. Fantastic on the node in front of him, because it has redoubled determination. And also, if somebody was to quake Mr. Fantastic, because of redoubled determination, they wouldn't be able to quake Mole Man. So, you know, this is pretty standard for top-tier alliances to organize their defense in such a way that you would need 2 separate attackers to clear a path. That's what we do. So it's smart, but the reason I'm talking about this placement is just because it's not really something that's you know, worrisome or anything like that. This is a very, very safe and easy Apocalypse fight. This is actually, I think, my easiest fight of the war. I think that cable was probably my trickiest fight of the war, and that itself would have been super, super easy if I used Quake, but I just needed to build up Apocalypse. So there we go. All my fights are done, and now it is time for Bryn to take on Dragon Man. I am going to place my last guidance on this Dragon Man for Bryn just to help, again, with his attack, give him 15% additional attack. He's going to be boosted in this fight, of course, but again, he's not running suicides. So Bryn is on the right there. He is quaking that Guillotine 2099, and then TJ is on the left using Dr. Doom with the Mr. Fantastic synergy against Killmonger, who does not benefit from the Protect Global. He's a medium-sized champ. So here I click into Dragon Man, I place guidance, and I accidentally enter this fight with Quake. Oh my god, how could I let this happen? I'm just kidding, I didn't. Alright, so Bryn goes in here. Here's his video, and we're going to talk about how he gets through this fight without losing any health at all. He actually loses a little bit of health, and then he gains it back from willpower. Alright, so the name of the game here is you need to make sure that you start charging your heavy right before he throws his SP1, or right as he gets his SP1. He starts charging there, he auto-evades, and then he dexes out of it. He doesn't go back into it. That allows him to evade Dragon Man's, or block Dragon Man's SP1, which inflicts an ineptitude debuff, which he can use to heal from willpower. And it also, obviously, allows him to not get hit. And now that he's not been hit, he's at 100% health. Dragon Man won't ever see another power charge buff in this fight. And yeah, Dragon Man is what we call in the hood fucked. He is proper fucked. So, Bryn is... He's definitely the best Quaker in our alliance. He's probably the... I don't know. It's hard to say, but he is absolutely one of the best Quake players that I've ever seen. And he rarely makes mistakes. You guys did see a little error in the last Dragon Man fight, I think. We think it's an error. It could have been a bug. We're not going to get into that. Anyway, yeah, he would have to make multiple mistakes here for Dragon Man to get him here. And he's just not going to. But he did figure out that timing at the beginning. If you start charging your heavy right before Dragon Man gets to an SP1, Dragon Man rushes in. You're going to auto-evade that because you're charging your heavy, and then instead of going right back into heavy, just dex out of it like you're trying to back yourself into the corner. Let Dragon Man throw his SP1 or bait his SP1 if he's not throwing it. Block it, and yeah, that Aftershock is going to turn off power charge, and you'll never have to worry about him getting power again. Absolutely flawless execution there, and again, if you guys are looking for a good counter here, Quake is a good counter. I know that it can go poorly, but look, like any hard fight, you're going to have to learn how to do it. And Bryn is the type of person that he wants to learn how to do it, and then he does it. And yeah, Dragon Man is his biatch at this point. So here we go. I told you guys early that we got smoked this war. However, this was BG3. BG3 finished with only one death. We did our part. We absolutely crushed it. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out that way for all of our battle groups, and that's okay. I mean, we're a team. It just happens that way sometimes, but we got to be better as an alliance to beat these top alliances. So, Dilly with the gold, Bryn with the platinum, and Clown with the silver card. He got Vulture on his card because he vultured a boss fight that somebody died to at like 20% health. Anyway, that's it, guys. Leave a like and a comment. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.